What's up, y'all? We out here at one of the big pond sites, or I call this one the lake. There's a big debate as far as what constitutes a pond, what constitutes a lake. I call this one a lake because it's about 10 acres. Pretty big, pretty well designed, well engineered. But anyway, some of y'all might still consider it a pond, but we did not build this pond. A very large dirt moving outfit constructed this pond and this dam, because as you can see, there is quite a lot to it. A lot of engineering went into this. It's, you know, it was a heck of an undertaking, but we did a lot of the grading work around the outside of it, kind of smoothing up some of the ancillary stuff, and we're involved with this group of folks here, Southeastern Pond Management, some really good folks out of Auburn, Alabama. They've done a lot of the work as far as setting this up, and today we got you some footage of them doing the first kind of stage of fish stocking here. So got some shell cracker and not sure what all else. We'll let y'all, we're going to talk to this fella and they're going to kind of go over the process with it and show you some of the fish getting dropped here into the pond. So they've done the management side of things as far as setting up the management plan for taking care of the water quality, fertilization, liming, and then, you know, nutrient based kind of fish feeding plan process, and of course stocking of the actual fish themselves. So he's got the truck backed up here, fish are in the tank, and just kind of show you, go over this process of establishing a new pond, because this pond is brand new. There was just a creek here. This was not a pond before. The dam was just been built. They sterilized the water and what was here prior to this, so we can go on an actual management plan of putting in the fish in the exact quantity that we want to grow a healthy, biodiverse pond that's going to be great for recreation, great for fishing, and all that kind of stuff. So stand by here and we'll show you what's going on. He is brave, braver than I would be. What we're trying to do now, get the truck set up. We've got 2 holding tanks worth of fish there in the back of the tank of the truck. It's got a PVC pipe with some valves on the bottom of the holding tanks, and he's getting close enough to where he is going to release the fish to where they drop right down in some good depth of water. So part of the process, he's got 65-degree water in the tank. Just check the lake water, it's 66 degrees. So right there, basically almost matching temperature, so perfect. So talk to us about, we're doing a multi-stage stocking process, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So how do y'all go about, this is a new construction lake trying to get, you know, a habitat established. Why multi-stage?
Well, what you have to do first is you stock all your forage species, and we'll be stocking bluegills, shell crackers. I'm sure here in the next week or two we're going to bring you some fathead minnows and some golden shiners. All those fish go in now, that way they'll have time to grow up, and they'll be spawning come about April. And then the bass will go in about June. So when the bass fingers go in, they have to have recent reproduction to eat and grow well. So you put all your forage fish in first so they get big enough so they'll be spawning, providing a lot of food for when your little bass go in.
Makes perfect sense. So you got, what all did you bring today?
These are bluegills and shell crackers.
And what size are these? How about that? Look at them little guys.
We'll dip some up here where you can get a better look at them.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
That's not good. We'll fish that out here in a minute.
He'll be all right. Get them up there where you can see them.
Already look like bluegill. Little baby bluegill.
Yeah, these are the copper-nosed bluegill.
Copper-nosed bluegill, and then in
shell
the other,
crackers.
in the other tank we got shell cracker. All right. Okay. That's good bass eating. That's like a bass buffet right there. Put them in the water and let them start growing big, so the bass will have something good to eat when we get them in there.
The bass will actually be starting off eating these ones reproduction, because these fish should be about 5 inches long come May, June, and they'll be bedding real heavy. So when the bass fingers go in, they're going to be targeting these guys as reproduction.
Okay, so we're putting these fish in now in this is just the beginning of November.
Right.
So they're going to be big enough.
They'll start spawning. The bluegills start spawning when the water temperature reaches about 80 degrees.
And they'll be mature enough and
they'll be big enough to start spawning come about mid-May. Here, and then the fathead minnows, which will be coming in later, they'll be spawning. So you'll have all kind of little small fry for the bass to eat when they go in.
Yeah. Well, let's go get something to fish this PVC pipe out, and we'll show you us putting these fish in the water.
Ellie, get off me.
Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. It's always nice to have somebody around willing to sacrifice having some wet pants on for the rest of the day.
That's Bub beyond there.
Alright, so can you tell the difference between a shell cracker and a bluegill when they're that small?
Yeah, you can if they hold still long enough. This top one is a copper nose. These two, dadgummit, these two are shell crackers. You can't really tell, but they're just kind of a little more checkery.
Mm-hmm.
The orange flap on their, they normally have a little orange on their percular flap, where that one's black, but you can't really tell at that stage. But
yeah, so little telltale signs, but when they're that young, they all look the same. It's pretty hard to,
I do it all the time. I raise these fish. So,
now, how do y'all raise the fish? Like, do y'all have a small outdoor pond? Are they raised indoors? You know.
What I have is I have 6 quarter-acre ponds, and I put about 30 adult bluegills in the summer, and I let them spawn all summer long, and then I drain the pond in the fall, and this is their reproduction for about 4 months. Quarter-acre pond, I typically get about 50,000 fingerlings out of a quarter-acre pond.
So out of a quarter-acre pond, 50,000 fingerlings
from about 30 adult bluegills.
So 30 adult bluegills, which is 15 pairs, or is it 30 pairs?
It's 15. I try to sex them best I can and get them about equal. So yeah, about 15 pair of bluegills will produce 50 to 60,000 fingerlings in a quarter-acre.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's quite the reproduction rate. I think maybe bluegills would give rabbits a run for their money. Sounds like. So that's awesome.
That's why you got to have so many of them in there, because the bass need a tremendous food supply, and the bluegills spawn all summer long, so they're providing food all summer for the bass to eat.
So I know this is the same scenario that I have with my pond at the house, and a lot of people don't realize this, but I would suffice it to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, the vast majority of all ponds out there are way out of balance because they have too many bass compared to the prey species.
That's correct. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and just about all the ponds you go to are bass crowded, simply because lakes this size, I mean, you need to harvest 300 pounds of bass every year.
Yeah, and that's something critical.
Don't do it. Yeah.
That they do not realize that for good biodiversity with your pond, every single year, most folks don't want to keep bass because they think they throw the little ones back, they become big ones. But you can have too many little bass.
Yes.
They eat up the forage, they eat up all of the prey. Then they're in competition. They're expending all their energy, and there's no food out there, and they won't get big.
That's right. Anytime you're fishing a pond and you start catching bass and say, oh, that's one I just caught, and you start catching cookie cutters all 10, 12 inches long, kind of long, you're way overcrowded.
Yep, you need to be pulling those fish out and have you some fish sticks.
And the only bluegills you're going to have are small like this or great big. You don't have anything in between, because as soon as they get a little size of bass are going to eat something roughly a third its length, and they're going to start hammering anything in the 3 to 4 inch range.
Well, that's good information. Y'all keep that in mind. If you've got a pond and you're catching a bunch of little 10, 12 inch bass that are skinny, throw them over the dam, make some fish sticks out of them, get them out, or you're going to have to really be feeding them pretty heavily. So we're getting ready to release the fish. They're going to come out of bottom of the tank. Got a gate valve right there. Run straight down the pipe. Nice little slip and slide right to their new home. how many fish is in this tank?
There's a little over 10,000 on this side. We got 10,000 on the other side. We do a total of
20,000 new fish for the ponds in the lake. So that's it, 10,000 in?
Yep.
That didn't take long.
No, it just doesn't.